Good evening to all. So today class we are going to discuss few of the important MCQ questions from the spectroscopy topic. So let's see the first question. The first question is N,N-dimethyl formamide gives how many signals in proton NMR spectra at 25 degree. Here we have to notice the spectrum is giving at 25 degree, that is a room temperature. So normally that N,N-dimethyl formamide, the two methyl groups which are actually non-equivalent. Why? Because here the nitrogen lone pair is going to participate the hyperconjugation with the carbonyl carbon, and it is going to develop the new double bond between the carbon and nitrogen. Because of this bond is going to rigid, it do not show a rotation, and the two methyl groups are chemically unequivalent. You can see here this methyl is closer to the oxygen O minus, and this methyl is close to the hydrogen in a space. That is a reason it will show two different chemical shift values. So that's why overall this DMF at room temperature usually show a 3 signals. So option C will be the right answer. But whenever this same question, if they are asking that is a high temperature, so at that condition, so the high temperature means at 130 degree or more than 130 degree can be considered as high temperature here. At that particular temperature, you could observe this rotation is possible at a high temperature. So because of this rotation, the two methyl groups are become chemically equivalent, and it will show us almost same chemical shift value. So it will give only 2 signals at high temperature. So our question is at room temperature, so option C will be the right answer. Come to the next question, that is in the proton NMR spectrum of an organic compound recorded at 300 MHz instrument, and a proton resonates as a quartet at 4.20 ppm, and the individual signals of a quartet as appears. This as they have given the various del values, that is a 4.17, 19 and 21 and 4.23. So this is actually our quartet, and they have given the value, that is 4.17, another is 4.19, and this is coming as 4.21, and the last is 4.23 picometer, parts per million. So in this condition, what is the coupling constant? So usually coupling constant can be represented with the letter J, and what actually this is a distance between any two peaks in the multiplet. You can see this is a quartet where it is consisting 4 peaks. So if you measure the distance between any two peaks, that you will get the J value. So here if I am going to calculate the J value, you can minus this one, 4.21 minus 4.19. So you will get how much? 0.02 value you are going to get, right? As we know already that here you can see, here we got the value that is around 0.02 parts per million. Here we got this value, that is the distance between these two values, that is a 0.02 parts per million. So this is a 0.02 parts per million. As we know that 1 parts per million will be equals to the 300 megahertz. So 1 parts per million is equals to the 300 megahertz. Sorry, this is a 300 hertz only. So accordingly, if you multiply this 0.02 to the 300 hertz, how much you will get? The value you will get it as a 6 hertz. So option B will be the right answer. So come to the next question, that is a of the vibrational modes of given below, the IR active mode is. So they have given 1, 2, 3, 4 different options. So here we have to imagine the center atom is a carbon, and which is connected to the 2 oxygens as a carbon dioxide is a linear molecule. So it is showing the various vibrational modes, like this is a symmetric stretching. So the stretching is equally happening in either sides, and this is asymmetric, and this is a in plane bending, and this is out of plane bending. In all these cases, if you observe, except one, the remaining all 2, 3, 4 cases, there is a change in the dipole moment. But in this case, you can observe the stretching is happening on either sides equally, so there is a no change in the net dipole moment. So that is the reason this is IR inactive. So except one, the 2, 1, 3, 4 will be the right. So which is not IR active, you can say it as a 1. So this is not IR active. Why? Because there is no net change in the dipole moment. So come to the next question, that is a F19 NMR spectrum. They are asking to measure the how many signals you will observe in the ClF3, that is a trifluorochlorine. So before measuring this compound signals in the F19 NMR, we must know the structure of ClF3. As we know, the chlorine can show the maximum binding capacity 7. Out of 7, the 3 is connected with fluorine, so remaining it is left how many electrons? So the 3 is automatically connected, so remaining are 4 can exist in a two lone pairs. Here you can see this is a T shape, where you can observe the 2 fluorine atoms are very close to these lone pairs and the remaining 1 fluorine atom is just far from the lone pair. So you can consider this fluorine atom is chemical environment is completely different from these 2 fluorine atoms. So there are 2 kinds of fluorine atoms are present in the ClF3 structure. So because of that, you can consider according to the multiplicity concept. So the Fa is completely different from the Fb. Consider this as axial fluorines. So this is Fa. So Na kind, how many are present? 2 are present. So 2 Ni plus 1. So how many Fas are present? 2. And as we know, fluorine, the spin quantum number, that is a nuclear spin quantum number, half. So you will get value that is 3. In another case, this is only 1 is present. So Nb, that is equatorial. So if you are substituting 1 and it is also having half, so you will get value 2. So 1 is coming as a triplet, another is coming as a doublet, right? So 1 triplet and 1 doublet you will observe. So here the doublet and as well as a triplet will be the right answer. Come to the next question. The total number of lines expected in the proton NMR spectrum of a following compound. Remember, here they are asking about the lines. So don't get confused if they are not asking about the signals. The lines means further whenever the signal is observed in a proton NMR spectrum is further often splitted into a multiple peaks, which is considered as a lines here. Why this is happening? Because of the concept of multiplicity. Here you can see this is a carbon which is combined with a proton and deuterium. Here more than one kind of nuclear active nucleus are there. One is proton which is having a I value that is half, another is I is actually 1. So here you can consider, they have considered in terms of fluorine deuterium because they have given the value of fluorine and deuterium rather than hydrogen. So in that condition you have to consider fluorine as I value as half. So whenever we are counting the multiplicity of this one, 2 Ni plus 1 and 2 Ni plus 1. So here how many fluorines are there? 1 fluorine is present. As we know, that is a fluorine spin quantum number is how much? Fluorine spin quantum number is half here. So the another is consisting, that is a deuterium. The deuterium is having, the quantum number is actually 1. So how many deuterium? 1 deuterium is there, spin quantum number also 1. So this is giving as 3 and this is giving as only 2. So the total value we are going to get it as a 6. That means totally will get observe the 6 lines and which will exist in the sextate form. You can see this was the sextate, right? So they are asking about the total number of lines. So 6 will be the right answer. So come to the next question, that is the number of signals of a following compound in the proton NMR spectrum. You can see here in the proton NMR spectrum of this compound usually it is consisting what? It is consisting a plane of symmetry. It is exactly equal halves. You can consider both methyl groups are same and this methyl group is different, and at the same time these two protons are differing from these two. So consider 1, 2, 3. There are total 4 kinds of protons chemical environment is present. So that's why in NMR spectrum you will observe total 4 signals. The next question is regarding to the IR stretching frequency. In the account of these below compounds, you will observe the 10 lines in the IR stretching frequency, and they are asking not about the IR active modes of vibrational frequencies, they are asking about the PO bond increasing stretching frequency. As we know, the structure is same but actually substituents are differing. This is the structure. You can observe this was the structure, where in the one case actually electron withdrawing is present, in another case actually electron donating is present. Whenever in this case if you notice, whenever if electron withdrawing group is present to the phosphorus, the electron withdrawing group will decreases the electron density on the phosphorus, so automatically the phosphorus back bonding capacity is going to increases. So this PO stretching frequency increases. So ultimately among these three cases the fluorine is highly electronegative, so it will actually reduces the electron density on the phosphorus. So because of this the back bonding gradually increases and PO stretching frequency increases. So among these three, the option 3 will be the right answer, which is having a high stretching frequency. Come to the next one, that is the value of G in the number of signals observed in the reference standard, that is a dBPH, in the solid state ESR, that is electron spin resonance spectrum. So what is mean by dBPH full form? That is a diphenyl picryl hydrazide. Here the question is, why do we use dBPH in ESR spectrum? Because this sample which has an unpaired electron in its orbital contribution, and this unpaired electron will create some magnetic momentum, and which is negligible because the molecule moves on a highly delocalized orbit, and this electron is almost equals to the free electron. That is the reason the Landé G factor for dBPH is very close to the free electron Landé G factor. So here the Landé G factor value for this is 2.0036, this is the value, and where it is going to give a single signal. So option A will be the right answer. Come to the next one, the total number of vibrational degrees of freedom for H2O2 molecule. As we know that H2O2 is a open book structure, so that means it is a non-linear, right? Whenever the molecule is non-linear, we must have to use 3n minus. So here you can see for the non-linear we can use 3n minus 6 formula. Why? Because see here, in the case of non-linear molecule, what will happen? There are 3 degrees of rotation, and as well as the rotation about the 3 axes, it will happen equally. And as the molecule is non-linear, the vibrational degrees of freedom also contribute translational and rotation also will become 3. So the total 6 will be causing from the translational and rotational we are going to neglect. Here you can see the formula is 3n minus 6. This 6 means what? This 6 means these are a translational degrees of freedom and rotational degrees of freedom. So if you apply this formula for H2O2, what you will get? N means total number of atoms involved. So H2O2 is consisting 4 atoms, and 3n minus 6 you will get it as a 6. So here option B will be the right answer. The last question. So this is the question from UV spectrum, and this is the question, give the fact that 1,3-butadiene has UV absorption, that is a 217 nanometer, and the absorption wavelength in nanometer for the conjugated system. So actually this is not a 1,3-butadiene, this is actually a homoannuline. So if they are giving like that homoannuline, as a basic unit, homoannuline is contributing 253 nanometer for absorption measurement. So here you can see for absorption maxima measurement, it is going to contribute 253 nanometer. And this is a homoannular. Homoannular means both double bonds are existing in the same ring. So this is providing 253 nanometer and it is contributing, and also this is consisting total 4 alkyl groups. Each alkyl group is going to contribute 5 nanometer for the absorption maxima. So it is going to contribute total 4 multiply with 5, because 4 alkyl substances are present, so which is coming around 20 nanometer. And also it is consisting the exocyclic double bonds. So for this ring this is exocyclic, and for this ring this will become as exocyclic. So total 2 exocyclic double bonds, and each will contribute 5 nanometer again. So it is coming as around 10. So 253 plus 20 plus 10, it will become it as 283 nanometer. So here the right answer will be 283 nanometer absorption maximum for this compound. So thanks for attending the class.